Welcome back. Today we have Roni Cabrera-Moreno with us. She is the CEO and founder of Art in the Heart in Houston, Texas. She's doing some amazing things with the community. She's done multiple charity events. She has an art garden, and she's a mother. So we're here and we want to hear all about your story and your journey. I know you guys started off in a bus, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so how many kids do you have, Ronnie?
I have four boys.
Oh,
Four
boy,
boys.
mom.
Yes. But they're already older. So my oldest is 19. I have an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a soon to be 13-year-old.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I started off pretty young. I had my oldest son when I was 17. So I was a young mama.
Okay, so we have another teen mom. I was a teen mom too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. About the same age, 17. So with your art bus, I think I read that you started in 2020 with the art bus?
Yes, so the official art bus was 2020. I had been doing, art in the community for a long time and doing all different kinds of projects. And I was really involved in my church. But the art buzz, we took off in 2020 because of the pandemic, because we actually had some free time.
Awesome. Wow, that's really awesome that y'all did that during that time when it was just a crazy time for the world and everyone was trying to stay apart and y'all were still trying to drive the community together. I love that.
Yeah, we were, they say that in times of, destruction or, when we've had really huge, hard things that happen in the world, usually people who are creative or innovative, they're the ones that come up with something or a solution or, their minds are the ones that kick in. And so that's kind of what happened during that time. We're not the kind of family that just sits around and, watches TV. So
Yes, yes. I
we kind
love
of,
that.
yeah.
So I guess you would say that y'all are a family that creates, all of you guys create or do some kind of art.
So not so much that we all do art, but my boys are very innovative. They're big readers, and so they're really big into trying to find solutions to things, and they're really big on thinking outside the box. So so when things are happening, they're already coming up with, well, we could do this and we could do that, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, I love that.
From the beginning. So like my story, I actually posted a picture of it this morning on Facebook, but my story goes back to, I've always been creative, so everything, you're at home with your kids sometimes if your husband's working or whatever's going on. And so when I would be home with them, I would always draw and paint and create things with them and whatever I could do to keep them entertained. I never played video games or did any of that stuff, so I didn't know how to do all that with them, but I was creative with them. So it's been a practice. Like that's just what we do, on a regular Tuesday or Wednesday is paint something, create something. So then I would always go to all these like community events. I was always looking for something free, let me tell you.
Yes. We love the freeze.
Love the free, free food, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And then we didn't have a car for the longest. So I would, get on the bus and pull all my little ones with me and take them to go see something. And so they grew up in this lifestyle. They grew up in, being surrounded by art, me creating things. And then when I started face painting, that really took off. So I started face painting because one of my kids would volunteer me. They all volunteered me. They would always tell the principal or the teacher, "My mom can paint it for you. My mom can make it."
Yes, I love
I
it.
would get voluntold all the time. So I got voluntold to face paint for the school carnival. Never done it before. And I did it and it went really well. And then everybody was asking me for my card afterwards. And I was like, oh, sure, give me my number. So, before I knew it, I'm getting hired out to go to parties and do all kinds of stuff. And, sometimes my kids would go with me and sometimes they weren't able to. But as the career and the work that I was doing changed and I got real big in the community, the boys helped me. They were lugging the tables and chairs and loading up the car and doing all the things. So when it came to the bus, it wasn't any different. They were the ones, down. I have pictures of Junior. I think he was, what, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. He's down there taking the bolts off the chairs and helping me get everything out of the bus, and they helped me paint the whole bus. And yeah, they've been super involved. Like, people tell me all the time, I want to do what you're doing, and I'm like, did you birth an army? Because I kind
Because I did.
I did. So yeah, these guys, I mean, they're really like, it's hard to do it with them, and it would be impossible without them. Like, it's kind of a
Yeah,
weird place. Yeah.
it's the bittersweet.
Right. Right.
So I
Yep.
was telling Rachel how you were on the Kelly Clarkson show a couple
Yeah.
of times, right?
Twice. Yeah, twice
That's
already.
awesome. That's awesome. What was that like?
That was crazy. So, I do something with Channel 2, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all these calls and Facebook messages and emails from a producer from the Kelly Clarkson show. And I'm thinking, someone is pranking me. And so I'm ignoring it. And, then she sent me a message, and she's like, look, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm a producer for Kelly. We really want you on the show. Da da da. And I'm like, what? So, I started answering all the things that they requested, and next thing you know, they're flying us out to LA. And my boys had never been on a plane. I think only my oldest one had been on a plane, but my other ones, even my husband had never been on a plane before.
Oh my gosh, what an experience.
Yes, yes. So it was really neat to go out there and do something like that, with all of them. So it's definitely a shared experience. Yeah, I always tell them, I'm like, when you grow up and you're older and you're hanging out with these your adult friends and they're talking about their childhood, I'm like, nobody's gonna have a story like yours.
Yeah, that's so true.
Girl, she was, we were like laughing because, she was singing, and if she thought she messed up, I mean, we can't tell she messed up, but she's like, oh, I didn't do that right. I'm so sorry. She would apologize. Can we do it again? I know you guys are working so hard. Totally not diva about it. Super down to earth, super sweet, yeah, super, super sweet.
That's awesome. And then that was around Christmas time. So, well, one of them I know was around Christmas time. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
really, really neat.
Yeah, they film them a few months before, and then they air them like 3 months later.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, so it was interesting because we all had to hold this secret for a few months.
Yes. Oh my
Have
God, how exciting.
these conversations of like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? So it's crazy. Is this for real? Are they gonna come back and tell us never mind?
Oh my
So
gosh. So with everything that you're doing, it sounds like you've built this support or you have this support system and network for you and your family or that y'all created within each other. Because I think that in today's world, it's hard to get your kids involved or to want to be involved or I guess you said that this has just always been a practice that you've done, since the beginning. Is that what you would say, or is the reason why your kids are so involved and want to be so involved?
yeah, so like I said, it is a like, this is what they grew up in, this is a lifestyle. Now, as they're getting older though, they are kind of wanting to push back a little bit. They're like, they have this feeling of that they feel, and this is what they've expressed to me. We've had hard conversations around it, but sometimes they have this feeling of like their identity is just kind of wrapped in what I'm doing. And
Hmm.
so they're pulling back a little bit because they're at the age, they're 19, 18, 17, that they want to like kind of explore, who they are and things. And when I try to remind them, and I'm like, yeah, you are your own person. You are you. You're gonna have your own likes and dislikes and da da da. But remember that this whole life that we've built is because of us together and the influence that we've had on you as a parent. And
Yes.
like Junior, my third son, he loves to like perform, and he can speak really well. He's not shy. He always gets placed like as an example. People think he's older, like, and I'm like, Mijito, that you got all that because of the way we raised you and the way you grew
Hmm.
up, being with people and working hard and doing all these things. And even though they're at that age where now they're like pulling back, and I'm going, oh my goodness, okay, I need to start finding other help. Um, but I'm excited for them. I'm excited for them. Like just last night, my 18-year-old went to go hang out with friends, and we picked him up, and it was kind of late, and he was supposed to come and help clean in the building because we pay him if he wants to come and clean up here. I gave them a choice. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna start paying somebody to clean. You get first dibs. Do you want to get paid or do you want to not? And then I'll give it to somebody else." And oh, I want to get paid. This morning he was tired and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back and pick you up after my meeting and you can do your work. But yeah, I think it's taught them a work ethic. It's taught them humility around people. They notice things, and they just care. Like they care about stuff. It's just crazy. It's really cool.
So, okay, so my next little kind of question would be, I was gonna try to, I wanted to go in on like how you went from doing something because it was the pandemic, people were trying to still do stuff and create income. And then now you're in this building. How did you do this? Like, it's amazing. I've seen your building. It's beautiful. The art garden, like, I mean, it looks like a full hands-on from the community. But did you ever think that you would be in this brick and mortar like this?
So I will say it's sacrifice. Like sacrifice is a big word that we use at home. So, I see a lot of different organizations, not to name anyone specific, but people who have these desires and these dreams to do something like this, right? And so you have to be realistic with yourself, and you have to know like how much am I willing to sacrifice, and then be realistic with your family. Like, how much is your family altogether willing to sacrifice? And so to get to this place, my boys and I have sacrificed like weekends and, after school hours and lots of time to be able to be here, instead of hanging out and going and doing things. Like it's taken a lot of time of us cleaning. Like we're literally doing all the work ourselves. We clean the building, we set up for the events, we do all this stuff. Because if I waited for it to be in a position where I could pay everybody and bring, it would never happen. And I see
Right.
other organizations that are trying to raise, 2 million before they can get into a brick and mortar. I got 100,000 and from Kelly Clarkson, and dude, I jumped all over this building and like started paying the rent, did a summer camp, did some after school programs, tons of weekends events with only 100,000, floating me for the first year. And
Hmm.
and people are like, how do you do it? I'm like, because I sacrifice.
Yes.
That means we're not eating out. That means we're not taking those vacations. That means we're not doing a lot of the things. And sometimes it is hard. Sometimes my boys get upset or they'll get a little frustrated. But I remind them, like, everything takes time. It can take 5 years before we're in a place where we're comfortable, or, now we have somebody else who's cleaning, or now we have somebody else who's, being an admin. But if you really, really want it, you have to realize and go, okay, life's going to be hard. What hard am I going to choose? Am I going to choose a hard in this way, or am I going to choose a hard where I'm working myself, somewhere else? So we've chosen this hard. And, like I told my boys, I'll give it 5 years. 5 years, let's see how we do it. And if it's still too hard and the family is like, hey, we're tired, we can't keep doing this, then, we'll stop. But like honestly, that's the only way we've been able to do it, because I'm not the only one sacrificing. It's like my husband, my kids, everybody's taking a sacrifice.
Hmm.
And for our community, the boys do know, like, I won't let them ride their bikes around here. They see the neighborhood, they see what's going on, and they know that this is like the only thing in our community that's worthwhile. And so, like, Junior's riding the bus. Well, Junior and Amadeo are both riding the bus to get to school. They're 2-hour bus rides on Metro all the way to Eve. Yeah, riding the bus to get to school to do things. And a lot of things happen on the rail and things. And I'm like, hey, well, how do you speak up? How do you advocate for that? Somebody else isn't going to go do it. What do you need to do? We host the super neighborhood meetings. Come on Thursday night. Tell the people at Metro what's going on as a student, as a kid. So teaching them those kind of things, like nobody's going to speak up for you. And even if you make enough money and you get out of that situation, what about the person that's left behind you? Like, what are they going to do? What if they don't know the people to talk to, or they don't have the skills to do it? Like, so yeah. Yeah, that's how we do it. So yeah,
I
Junior
love
had
that.
a real bad situation just like I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. Somebody lit a fire in the bus, and he had to open the doors. Yeah, like he had to pull the doors open and get out, and and he was like, "Mom, the people could have died in that bus," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And and him and some big guys, and then so he put in a report to Metro, and he's coming to the meeting, and it's just teaching them like just because you put a blind eye to things, that doesn't mean they're not happening. They're happening. It's
Right.
just they're going to keep happening if we allow it, if we just we're complacent. So,
Wow, yeah, I'm at a loss for words. I commend you so much on just everything that you are doing with your children and teaching them, because I think that, like I was saying earlier, in today's world, it's hard and you want to protect them from everything, but you also want them to advocate for themselves and learn to speak up and to pay attention. And I think that you're just doing a great job. And then on top of all that, running this beautiful community center for the kids, that's a lot. You're not just doing for your kids, but you're extending that out for more children. And, it's hard enough, doing it for your own tribe, but to be doing it for so many more kids, I just think that that's so beautiful that you're doing that. Do you ever come or feel mom guilt for any?
all the time.
It really is. Every time we ask, every mom has the same reaction. And but yeah, tell us about your mom guilt.
Well, yeah, like I said, I just shared about it this morning, those weekends when they were too small to be with me, and I would have to get, Lupe to come watch the boys so I could go face paint. I don't get those weekends back. I don't get
Mhm.
those free times. Right now, like my youngest, he's about to turn 13, and I'm just like, what? Where did the last few years go? Oh, I know. I've been building the art center. I lost his little, like, how when they're little you celebrate all their first, the first time they
Yes.
walk, first time they but how often do we celebrate the last? Sometimes we don't even realize it's their last. We don't realize that it's the last time that they're going to want to hug and a kiss before you drop them off, before they get embarrassed,
Yes.
or it's true. Nobody talks about the last, and you're not
It's
prepared
true.
for the last. Like the last time that my oldest kid wanted to wear a costume for Halloween, and then the
Oh,
next year he was like, "No, I don't want to wear one." And I was like, "What?" I would have taken more pictures on that last one.
right.
But it's hard, and one of the things my husband tries to remind me is to be present in the moment, in that car ride conversation, in that, those little interactions and those things when we're not working, or we are working, the little things like the little treats and the little stuff to try to be in those moments because I could have mom guilt forever,
Yeah.
I've been taking these classes for nonprofit leadership since January. So every Friday and every Saturday morning, I would be over here in the office working on that and then go home and have to do homework. And I'm just like, where did my weekend go with my kiddos?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's tons of mom guilt. To be doing this work, I'm sacrificing income. I know that I could be working somewhere else and making decent income and have my kids living in a nice little neighborhood where they could go ride their bikes, and so sometimes, I regret those kind of things. But then I go back to, who am I in the end, and who am I going to be even when they grow up? And this is who I am. It's hard. Mom guilt is hard.
It's a tough one.
It's like the worst thing. It is, yeah. And I don't think anybody will understand it. I don't think if you're not a mom who's gone through mom guilt, you're not gonna understand what mom guilt is. Like I don't think any guy can understand mom guilt.
it,
It's so real. It is
it
so
it really is.
you can't never win. You can't never win. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. When the kids started eating more pizza, I was like, oh, I'm the worst mom. They're eating pizza. I didn't have time to cook. And I still, now that they're older, they make their stuff, but at the same time, I was so good about like, oh, I'm gonna make them food and blah, blah, blah every night. And then all of a sudden it was like, Oh, every Wednesday we're gonna have pizza because mom's got to do some starts. Oh, you know what? We may have pizza twice this week.
At least they're eating. They're eating.
You don't
So
put it in front of them anyways. Good food, and they might not eat it either. So,
that's true. It's so true. Like I'd rather my kids eat it, you know what I mean, than to sit here and cook a great healthy meal and no one touches it.
yeah, I know you're like, oh, thanks. Exactly. Oh man, well, yeah, we can't win. We can't win.
So
And
Ronnie,
then
what advice would you give to young young artists out here that are wanting to create and wanting to possibly be on a mural on a wall somewhere? What kind of advice would you give these upcoming artists?
so artists, but not mom artists, just any artist.
Any artist.
Okay. So one of the things that like I have a young girl that's renting for me up here in the studios, and so one thing I tell her is it's discipline. If you look at the artists who a lot, and not every artist, it's different for every artist. There's not one, fits all, but discipline is a real deal. Just like people who want to lose weight and look, good and stuff have to discipline themselves to work out and to be at the gym every day and to da da da. It's the same thing for an artist. You have to have discipline. You have to take the time to sit there, focus, spend time on your craft, practicing, perfecting, finding new ways, working with different mediums. Like it is definitely a skill and a practice that you need to spend time on. And then I would say just be gracious with yourself. Artists, we're our own worst critic. Everything we create, we're like, oh, I don't know. Just be gracious with yourself and try it. When it comes to murals, it's like you can take all the classes in the world when it comes to a mural, but it's the actual doing the work. So finding someone who is willing to give you a wall or going outside and painting the outside of your garage, because that's what I did. I went outside and I covered my entire house in art. And I got that muscle practice and that experience of going up and down a ladder and how to use the brushes and what type of paints to use and asking questions and things like that. It just takes jumping in and doing it. And so you got to jump in. You have to do what you want to do. Be respectful. Carry yourself in a respectful way. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of, female artists that are carrying themselves a certain way, attention because they want to come up in the art world. And so my advice, especially to women, female artists, is, you want to be respected because of your talent. And so that's my biggest advice to the young girls that are trying to come up and, do this kind of work is be respectful to yourself, value yourself and put real effort in and know that your work is worth it, not, not someone else's predisposition of what you look like or who you are. So it's a lot. And I always tell my girls, like I have a lot of teens and young girls who don't have kids yet, that are wanting to be artists and things. And I tell them, look, one day, you're gonna get married, you're gonna have a family, you're gonna do life. And you want to make sure that when it all comes back, especially in this day and age with the internet and Facebook and pictures and whatever's out there, when if it comes back, you don't want to be like caught off guard. I think I was real careful because I did have my kids so young. So when I was doing my art career, I was always thinking of them and how would it affect my boys and how would it reflect on them. So I tried to do my work a certain way and carry myself a certain way. But also, we need to teach, we need to educate the culture. We need to change it. Like it can't be this way that, women come up in the world in the arts only because of their looks, like who's guiding that? Like that's not okay. We need to speak up for that. And then it's not just their looks, but it's just how people want to carry themselves. And it's just like,
Hmm.
hey, we need to be respected. Because then when we're respected, that's when our work is valued and we'll get paid what needs to get paid and we'll be given the work the way it needs to be given because we're respected. And
Absolutely.
that's what I'm pushing for a lot with these girls that are coming in and wanting to do the art in the mural is like respect yourself so that other people respect you and they value what you do. And when you say, hey, I'm not going to work in this condition, or I need it to be safer, or I don't feel comfortable, then they'll understand that because you've carried yourself that way the whole time.
Right. Setting a standard for yourself. That's beautiful. So Ronnie, tell us what you have coming up at the studio.
Oh, lots of stuff. So I love the fall. It's my favorite time of year. So this neighborhood has not had a very big trick or treating, ambiance. It's been kind of like everybody leaves and goes to the Heights or somewhere else. So for the past few years, I've been bringing back trick or treating. So I call it Trick Art Treat, and so it's fun. We get artists to compete for murals. We do trick or treating. We do all kinds of fun stuff. And then my art center is very civically engaged. So we're nonpartisan and we're trying to get people motivated and out there voting and using their right and using their voice. So we're going to have a few different events leading up that, incorporate civic engagement, but have some fun opportunities. Also, my Catrina face painting. I'm pretty well known for being able to paint Catrinas. And so I'm actually going to be hosting a workshop where all the paints are included, and I'm teaching people how to paint themselves or paint other people
Ooh.
for that season. So if you guys want to do that, and just a lot of cool events, follow us at HTX Art in the Heart or the website www.artintheheart.org. I also have art studios with HTX Art. So if anyone's needing a space or a studio or something, we have spaces up here and they're wonderful. So yeah, lots of cool stuff.
Beautiful. So our listeners can even sign up to volunteer and stuff like that as well. Or there's volunteer
Yes.
opportunities.
Yes. Either you can be voluntold by your kids like I was, or you can volunteer, and all my opportunities are super awesome. If you have teenagers that want to come out with you and volunteer, or if you yourself just want to come out and volunteer, we're just doing different events: art with kids, art with the community, also some information giving to the neighborhood about voting, and what can they do and what are their rights, where can they go. And so just different opportunities. If you go to the website and you look up events, there's places to vote. And if you go to the website and you also look up civic engagement, that has another volunteer sign up list. Or you can just send me a direct message too.
Well, I think that's going to wrap up this episode. You have been so awesome. We love talking to you, Ronnie. I'm just,
Oh,
yes, like I
thank
feel like I
you.
want to go and create something right now. I,
You gotta come
I,
do it on a Wednesday night.
yes, yes. I was looking at the site and seeing all the stuff you have going on there, and we'll definitely come out and volunteer or just come to create on a Wednesday night.
You have to
But
be
yeah,
taking care of yourself. I always tell women, they're like, "What? I can't draw and I can't." I'm like, no, you're because they'll tell me I'm not an artist. You don't have to be an artist. It's just we have creativity inside us, and it just releases all that negative energy and frustration.
yes, I love it. I love it.
Come do it. Come do some art.
Yes, thank you so much, Ronnie. And we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and share all of this beautiful, beautiful story that you have. I'm really in awe of you, just because you're just not only inspiring young people, but your children, and making this whole family oriented business, and I just commend you on your parenting skills, and you're kicking motherhood's ass, girl. And you
Well,
really
thank
are.
you.
You really
Thank
are, and
you.
and it's just so special, and we're just so honored to be able to share your story, and we just appreciate you so much for being with us today. Thank you.
Well, I take that to heart. Thank you so much.